There are other different types of dementia, and depending upon where the difficulties lie, that in the illness determines the course of treatment.
Yes, you can. All you have to do is want to do it.
Yes.
Want to be it.
When you set your mind to it, and this is who you are, and
the grown men. We have the youth that we need to mentor, and we need to inspire, and we need to motivate. But I know, as a recent conversation between you and I, that you're also in the business of motivating grown men. Through that, I'm supposed to see God in it at every turn. So me going to the Sea of Galilee was to remind me of that, to refresh myself of that. It is all under control, that He does have it. It's just as clear as that fresh water that I saw.
You're Our Unity, hosted by LeShawn Walker, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. EST.
Welcome, everyone, to You're Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to focus on being the best you this 2023. I am your host, LeShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in and say Happy New Year to everyone out there. I hope that you had a great start to this year. It was kind of rough for me in the beginning, but I ended it really, really well. And so I hope the same for you guys. I hope that you had some fun with your friends. I hope that you were able to reset. I hope that you are prepared to move forward in 2023 in a positive and a better direction. It's been great the last week or so. You know, I took a little vacay. I wanted to celebrate Christmas. I wanted some time to myself and sort of rejuvenate myself and get through the holidays, in addition to preparing for 2023 and all that I have in store for not just myself, but for you guys out there as well. This past weekend, I forgot to mention, today is actually January 3rd, before I move on, and it is my father's heavenly birthday. So I would like to wish my dad, I don't have a photo of him, but I've been thinking about him all day and everything that, you know, he instilled in me, and just kept asking him, you know, knowing that he's safe where he is because he's with God, but if he is proud of me and everything that he's seeing going on down here with the family. So I just want to wish him a happy birthday. And then, you know, just discuss what I've been doing the last couple of days. I took a break. I needed one so much. The past few months of 2022 was very, very rough for me. It was beginning to get so dark, and I was feeling suffocated, and there were so many things going on that I couldn't control, and yet I was trying to keep a smile on my face. And I did, for the most part. You know, I kind of muscled through it a little bit, but it did get heavy enough that when I finally got into 2023, it was a release, a huge release, but it was a cry. It was a deep, deep cry for understanding, for growth, for helping me, you know, figure out a better path than the one that I saw in the last 3 months. So I needed some time to share with my friends and just sit down and sort of hash out a few things that was going on in my mind, because it was a battlefield for a few months. And we had what I called a sister soul care weekend. And this weekend, what we did was we just got together and we shared what was going on in each other's life. We were there to encourage and inspire each other. We wanted to hold each other accountable for the changes that we wanted to see in each other. I asked them, you know, what, you know, did they take from 2022 into 2023 that they want to grow or work on? And as of 2023, what are the things that you want to add to your life? Those things that you don't have, that you want to see. And also those things that you need to get rid of. How serious are you about really doing those things? And we created vision boards about what we want for the future. We shared some really heartfelt emotions for one another, as well as for what our dreams and our goals are, and whatever struggles that we were going through. We also honestly were very transparent about those things. And I enjoyed that because I got to see my friends through a different light. We get together often, but it's usually to laugh and joke and drink cocktails and, talk about all the beautiful things that are going on in our life. But this past weekend, this Sunday, actually, the 1st of January, 2023, we got together and we shared our deepest, most feelings, expectations, our hopes and our dreams, and the adversities that we're going through, the healing that needs to be done. It was so therapeutic and cathartic for all of us. And we left with a new perspective on life and our friendship. I feel that it strengthened us as well. And I hope that you guys take an opportunity out there to find a tribe. Find some females, some males, your homeboys, your homegirls. Go out there and actually have real, deep, meaningful conversations. Because after my weekend, we all have gotten text messages and calls about how this was so very much needed, and they enjoyed every minute of it. So that is my plan, to keep checking up on each other every month, having, a discussion, figuring out what we can do to better ourselves and holding ourselves accountable for that change and for that growth in one another. So I hope that you guys did that. As always, I'm always trying to be a better me, a more inspired person, and someone who's always looking forward. And I try to keep those type of people around me as well. So today, because, it's all about being a better me in 2023, I wanted to discuss that with someone I hold so dear to my heart, someone who knows what it's like to connect with yourself, mind, body, and soul, and can honestly teach us a few things about how we can do the same. She is here to talk about what being a better me is about. So the title is Better Me 2023 with Jaclyn Kiernan. Jaclyn Kiernan is a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and an Uzi Reiki practitioner. After struggling with symptoms of hypothyroidism from 2011 to 2016 and being diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease in 2016, she became determined to feel better and sought holistic wellness and integrative medicine to aid her in her journey to good health. After years of working to find ways to heal, Jaclyn put her Hashimoto's disease into remission in 2019. She currently is focusing on utilizing functional nutrition, stress management, and spiritual practices to help other women feel better as well. Jaclyn works with people of all ages and is passionate about helping people learn how to feel good. She believes feeling good involves physical, mental, and spiritual health. So choosing to write a story of wellness takes time and dedication, but you must take that time because we all deserve to feel good. Here to discuss how we can be better me's for 2023, please help me welcome my beautiful friend and the health and wellness specialist for Your Our Unity, Mrs. Jaclyn Kiernan. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you. And I have to tell you, we shared a very similar day. Today is my grandfather's heavenly birthday.
Oh my God.
And in every psychic medium reading I get, I am told that he is my guardian angel.
I
So
love
all day
that.
long, I have been asking him just to show me little signs that he's around and he's
I love
guiding
that.
me along the way.
I
So
love that. That's
another
basically,
similarity.
yes. And I love that you said that, because that's basically what I was doing to my father, asking my father today, like, show up,
Yeah.
let me know that you're here, because I know he's my angel. I do. And in things I'm doing and pursuing is all my dad. But at the same time, you want to feel that presence,
And you can always ask your angels for a sign. All you have to
I
do,
love that.
but since angels work on based off of free will, which we all have,
Mhm.
we have to ask our angels for a sign. We have to ask our angels for guidance along the way. We have to say, hey, angels,
Mhm.
help me out with this a little bit. And that's when your angels can really step in. They can show themselves, not obviously show
Right.
themselves, but through a variety of different ways. Some people see feathers, dimes, pennies, all that good
Oh my
stuff.
God, that's what I see.
There
Not
you
to
go.
go off topic, but that's exactly what I see. my girlfriend, Sandy, best friend, you know, we just did the Sandy Claus. It was in honor of her. I don't, you know, subscribe to psychics, but her daughter does. And she went to a psychic reading, and the young lady had said to her, because literally for like a week, I was finding like money everywhere, outside my car, in front of my house. And I kept saying, and I actually said to one of my friends, why do I keep finding this chump change? And why am I not finding like hundreds of dollars and bills, you know? But regardless of the fact, probably like a week later, Diamond had told me, confided, she's like, you know, I went to a psychic. I wanted to, you know, connect with mommy and da 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 da. So she says, but the psychic kept talking about you. And I was like, what? And she was like, yes, because I was speaking to her while I'm driving, whatever, you know, I hear a song. I'm like, oh my God, Sandy, that's our song. You know, I was just, you know, speaking to her.
Right.
And the psychic actually said, she said she hears her speaking to her, and she's letting her know that she hears her by dropping money every place she can. And that literally was happening to me like a week prior.
Well, there's your answer.
Oh my God. It was crazy.
So funny. Not to take us off topic.
No, not off topic. But that is about being a better me, because those people make me whole. They make me feel good.
And they make you aware.
And they make me aware. Exactly.
They really do. They make you very aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah. No, I love that. I do. So it is 2023.
It is. Thank God.
Girl, I could not wait. I'm telling you, 2022, the last 3 months has been kicking my behind.
Yes.
That I knew that there was something bigger in store for 2023. There is no doubt in my mind, because I know God would not put me through that if not for a reason. You know what I mean? But I know it was rough, and I lost sight of a few things during that time. And it was things that I know that I should know. It's the faith, and it's the meditation, and it's the self-care. And I lost sight of that because I was just focused on the problems.
Right.
So, you know, we're going into 2023. Well, we are in 2023. Tell us first, what does being a better me for 2023 mean to you?
Ooh, that is a great question. So what I will say, same thing. Last few months of 2022 were brutal. They were really dark for me. Very similar thing. I lost sight of who I was for a while. I lost sight of meditation, all things that I preach. And I finally went back to it at the end of 2022. And that was really the situation that I experienced ended up being somewhat of a blessing.
Yes.
Because it brought me back to who I really am. It really brought me back to my spiritual self, which I'm so grateful for.
Yes.
The clock actually struck midnight and I cried. Everybody else cheered and I cried. I was at a club in the city, and then everybody's cheering and singing, and there I was crying.
Yes.
But
you needed that.
Yeah. And it's a release. And I think being a better you, or being a better me, to me, is all about releasing.
Yeah.
You know, we have these amazing spiritual practices that, and, you know, or I should say I have amazing spiritual practice, but really focusing on the day to day and being mindful, being present, being here is so important.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest two things for me are letting go and surrendering.
Yeah.
And I know they sound like two different things, but I want to elaborate on the fact that they're actually similar but different.
Okay.
So being able to let go and surrender is kind of just recognizing that we can't control everything.
Right.
You know, as much fun as that might be, we can't control everything.
Yeah.
So we can manifest, and we can talk about manifestation and all that good stuff. We can manifest a bunch of things, but we have to be willing to surrender the outcome and say, I trust that what is of the highest good, no matter what religion you believe in, no matter what faith you have, what is of the highest good is going to come to fruition for me. And then in terms of letting go, we can't hold on to that junk from the past.
Right.
Because it really just weighs you down. If you sit there, and obviously we need to feel those feelings. I'm not saying mask your feelings, don't sit with them.
Right.
But feel them and let them go.
Right.
Let them go. Let that anger go. Let that frustration go. The things that you can't change, we have to find a way to really just let them go.
Yeah, no, I love that you say that, because I think I truly understand what the meaning now of surrendering and the let go, and how they are vastly to me now different the way you explained it. Because surrendering is allowing something better to come to you. You're surrendering who you are, what you believe about yourself, what you think things should be, and you're allowing the greater power to overtake you. And yes, I get that. Letting go is letting go of the garbage garbage that
Yes.
is weighing you down, that is
Exactly.
not serving your higher purpose, that is not meant for you. That is the struggle I had, was the letting go. I was prepared for the power and the surrender. I was doing that, I feel, every day. It was the literally letting go of the weight of that garbage still. And I think it also was because I couldn't believe I was going through it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
Like, I could not believe that the me person, the sunshine, the happy person, the positive that, you know, makes these moves every day, that is supposed to create this happy world, was not being had. And I was in shock. So I love that you say that. So being a better me, and have people having an issue surrendering and letting go, what do we do?
It's so hard. And I think as women, we really, really wear so many different hats. Not to shove the men aside here, but I think we are in this very funky place where we're trying to step into feminine power, but we also need to be the boss babe, but we also need to be in control. We need to, and I think now more than ever, which makes me so happy to see, I am seeing more women out there supporting other women and rooting for other women. And for a long time, and I'm sure you can relate to this too, it was a competition. She's doing it, so I can't do it. So I think that's one of the biggest things that we as women struggle with, is letting go of that control, because we're told we have to be all of these different things. And I think since social media has hit the scene, it's become that much harder.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you're
comparing ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. You're playing the comparison game, and there's influencers, and there's all of these different things where, you know, and nobody looks that good when they wake up, you know, and it's, there's so many things I think that come into play within our minds, that we spend a lot of times beating ourselves down. And the things that I say to myself, I would never say to a friend. I would never, if you came to me, I would never say it to you. And that's something I really worked on, you know, over the past month too, is working on making sure I'm speaking to myself with kindness. And it does make a difference. And you do deserve it, ladies. You do deserve to speak to yourself with kindness.
I'm learning to do that as well, and looking at the mirror and literally saying it to myself with conviction, you know, and not just an affirmation you stick on the mirror and you're just repeating it because you're thinking you're supposed to do it. You have to say it with conviction and with meaning, and I'm owning that now. And that has just recently happened when I had my huge cry for 2022 into 2023, and I needed, it was almost like everything that I was holding on to for the year just poured out of me, and I needed that so that I can make room for everything that's going to be poured into me. So I know it's hard. We're women out there, and we feel that we have to do everything for everyone. We have to be kind to ourselves. What steps can we take to start
this is so fun. Okay. So I will say it does feel a little funky at first, because I think we are often taught, you know, self-care is selfish. We are often taught, you know, be humble, but you can be humble and feel really good about yourself and recognize the amazing traits that you have within you. Obviously don't walk into a room and boast them out to everybody, but you can recognize them and walk through the day and really hold on to them. One of my newer practices is every morning, and one thing that lights me up more than anything, and I've heard this from so many different spiritual advisors and people along the way, is gratitude. So the first thing I will usually do in the morning is I sit down, and I will say, if you do not have a morning routine and you're somebody who's waking up, how you start your day impacts your whole day. Let me start off by saying that. If you are somebody who is waking up and you are just sprinting through your morning, your stress level is most likely higher. If you're somebody who's having that cup of coffee when they first wake up before really taking a moment to have something in their stomach, your cortisol is higher.
That's me.
So you're feeling that stress. Well, you're feeling that stress, and you're going to crash later in the day. So that's the harder part too. But how you start your morning really sets the tone for the entire day. So most recently, what I've been doing is I wake up, I have a warm cup of water with some lemon in it. And then I will usually go upstairs and I will do a gratitude journal, and I will write 5 things that I am grateful for. And it can feel weird at first to start a gratitude journal, especially and when you're in a dark place, it's hard to feel grateful. It's very easy for me to sit up here and say, just have gratitude, but it's really hard when you're feeling dark, and you know, but the one thing I say is always go back to, can you see? Can you hear? Did you wake up today? Do you have a warm house? You know, just the little things that you can recognize. And then after that, every single day, I write down 5 things I love about myself.
Yes.
And then after that, I will write a moment that I am proud of.
Yeah.
Because I know for me in 2022, my biggest lesson was setting boundaries.
Oh my God, I was going to discuss that later.
Setting boundaries. So there have been some moments where I leave a room and I'm like, yes, I set that boundary, like go me. And I'll write about it in my journal the next morning, but it's the best feeling ever. And then usually I'll reach out to one of my therapists and I'll be like, guess what I did? I set a boundary. But you know, having somebody to confide in who's rooting for you as much as you're rooting for yourself is really helpful too. But having that meditation, starting off that morning nice and slowly and really working to start that day with gratitude and starting that day with things that you love about yourself is a beautiful practice. And that's what I would recommend to everyone.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm now waking up in the morning, and as soon as I open my eyes, I'm looking straight out the window and just praying and talking to God and doing just that, affirming things. I am this person. I am a queen. I am smart. I am fearless. I am these things. The writing part, I want to get into that. But how do you find time for these things when you already have such a filled day? So how do you find time to actually put those, affirmations or those feelings into your journal for the first part of your morning?
I will say it takes getting up earlier. Okay. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You do have to get up earlier than you used to. Yeah. I start work at about 6 a.m. I'm up by 4 o'clock every day. Okay. And I will say I'm more energized when I'm doing these things. And
maybe that's what I need to try.
So you kind of take the Mel Robbins 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just bolt out of bed, make it happen.
So I guess we're not snoozing.
We're not snoozing. We're not snoozing. We are getting up. We are rising. But also part of rising, we have to talk about going to bed. Yeah. When you're going to bed, what are you doing? Are you actually taking the time to have that bedtime routine, to relax, to put those phones away, to put those blue lights down, to wear your blue light glasses, all different things like that, which are so important. How are you winding down? Yeah. How are you falling asleep? Having a good restful sleep helps you wake up and ready to tackle that day. But it does require sacrifice, but you are worth it. Yeah. So sometimes you might have to leave that dinner a little bit earlier. Sometimes you might have to go to bed a little bit earlier than you're used to, but it's worth it.
It is.
It really
upgrading your routine and making certain changes, because we get stuck in our rut. We get stuck in our routine. We get stuck on, what we want to focus on for the day rather than what we need to focus on for the day. So I agree. I mean, I think that's one of my bigger issues is finding the time. I set aside, Sundays for me to really write and get into my journal. But I realize now that I just don't need it on Sunday. I really need this like Monday through.
Set it like an appointment.
Oh my goodness.
Set it like an appointment.
Yeah.
And listen, that's what it took for me at first. Yeah. Was I almost made it a homework assignment, and I asked a friend to hold me accountable. And I said to her, I want you to ask me every single day if I have written in my journal. And if I have not written in my journal, I want you to really just kind of yell at me gently.
Yes. No, I get that. We do. We need to hold each other accountable. I don't know if I want someone telling me every day that you're right, but you're right. At least to have that support to let you know that I'm trying to keep you on the right track. This is what you wanted to do, so I am there to help you. So that's beautiful. So again, the last 3 months, and sure, as I mentioned, I went through some stuff. You said you went through some stuff. When you were in that darkness, did you see, what you had become and the changes that you needed to make, or did you just get tired and you just said 2022, I can't, leave it like this. I can't end it like this. And that was your true motivation.
So it's funny. I personally believe the universe always delivers to us. The universe is always listening. Our angels are always listening if we ask for help. Right. So I had gone through a tough breakup, and then that kind of just led to this spiral of events. And it got to a point where there was 1 week where every single day something just like almost catastrophic happened. And I said to a friend, bring it on, universe, what more you got? And then every day something more kept happening. And I was like, I don't want any more. I'm good. I'm okay. I was kidding.
Oh my God,
so it got to a point where my friend was like, you're never doing that again. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm never doing that again. It was awful. But when you're in it, I mean, I, for a minute, lost everything. And I was just scrambling because for me, I was also and I'm sure we can all relate to this, especially as women,
Mhm.
pusher and controller energy.
Oh, yes.
So towards, the end of the summer, I was pushing
Mm.
in so many different directions to try and control.
Right.
The second something felt out of my control, I was like, well, let me grab that and bring that really back in.
Yes.
And it wasn't working anymore. And it got to a point where I hit my knees, and I was with a friend who I really look up to, and we do Reiki circles together, and we're planning our first sound bath. And I will tell you, the universe really brought me to her just on time.
Wow.
And she sat down with me, and we were talking about morning routines. And I was like, I used to have the best morning routine ever. And she was like, and what happened? I was like, I got lazy.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I will tell you, since I went back to it, I am totally in a different place. And it really was. It just was recognizing that what I was doing wasn't working.
Right.
And I hated feeling sad. I hated feeling
Me
miserable.
too.
And it was recognizing that a lot of the things that were happening, I couldn't control anymore.
Right.
All I could do was be the kind person in the situation,
Mhm.
move on to the best of my ability, and, just kind of keep moving forward. And I decided I was going to do everything in my power to make 2023 my year. So I locked everyone out. I canceled plans. I really took that time for myself. And I decided that the way that I have a heart and love for everybody, it's time I have that for myself.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree. And everything that you said you experienced and you went through is exactly how I even challenged. God, come on, devil. If this is you, come on, what else you got? And I was using
Like you're in a
that to
boxing
make,
match.
yes. But it was the anger,
Yes.
that I couldn't control it. So now I'm like, I'm strong enough. I'm still here. But at the same time, it's killing me
Yes.
inside,
Oh, yeah.
And that's because, like you said, you're trying to, I see you, you're out of place. Let me reel you back in. And the more you tried and the more effort you put to it, to me, everything else started to fall out of place as well.
Yes.
And it was burying me. And so I had to do the same thing. I saw myself in that darkness. I became that lazy person. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to speak to anyone. And if I did, I wanted to complain about the same
Yes.
garbage over and over and over again. I was like, I got to a point where I said, this is not me.
Yes.
I didn't recognize myself anymore in that mirror. And that's when 2022, that it was that deep gutted cry, like, please, I see what needs to be done. Just take me where I need to go to make this,
Yes.
to fix this, to make this better. As you're saying, we all deserve to be better. And if we're not feeling better, something's wrong and we need to fix it.
And there are moments too where I was doing the same thing. I was whining and I was complaining, and my friends would come to me with things. And I would be so irritated and like 3, 2, 1, bingo. I'm fed up. I'm done listening. And I got to a point where I was sitting there one day and I was like, God, I am really annoying.
Yeah.
I am really annoying. I am really whiny. I am really complaining. This is not me. This is not who I want to be.
Yes.
This is, and that was part of also hitting my knees and saying, God, universe, there has to be a better way. There has to be something more. Please, 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 please show me. I'm done trying to control. I'm surrendering the outcome. I'm done.
I'm done. Yes.
I'm done.
I love that. And that's what we want to share with you guys out there. Like, I know a lot of people experience beautiful times in 2022, but we've also experienced some really heartbreaking, horrific, horrendous, hard times as well. And it's, finding the necessary tools and resources, not only outside of ourselves, but inside of ourselves.
Yes.
To make sure that we can get through it. And that is exactly what we both did. It was like a self-awakening, so to speak.
Transformation.
Transformation. That we did include others, because as I mentioned, I just had a weekend with my girlfriends, 10 women in a room. I learned so much about these women in that one day. I went to Maryland for the day. I learned more from these women in one day than I knew in the 20 plus years that I've known some of them.
But see, how beautiful is that? Because so here's the thing too. I don't want to say darkness is bad.
Yeah.
Obviously it doesn't feel good. Nobody likes to be in it, but without darkness, we don't have light.
Right.
Without that darkness, you wouldn't have known
that,
those emotions about your friends. And I think we relate to people more in the darkness than we do in the light. Because if you think about it, when we're happy, we're just in a joyous mood. You don't walk into a room and call your friends and say, I am so happy.
Exactly.
But when you're feeling miserable, you want everybody to listen. You're like, please hear me. I want to complain.
Oh my God, you're so
we just sit in this low vibration. But when we're happy, we're like, well, this is fine.
You're absolutely right. And misery loves company.
Yes.
So that's really what it is. It's like you're trying to draw those people into your misery, even even when you know that is not who you normally
Yes.
are. God, you're amazing. You're so right. So again, then we're in this darkness. We know that we're full of light and we're supposed to be shining that light. How do we get there? You know, and I know that it's not easy for everyone, and everyone's path is going to be different.
Absolutely.
But, you know, speaking from a spiritual perspective,
Yes.
how do you think we should get there to find that light that we all have?
With one step at a time.
Okay.
Everything that we've learned and everything that anybody has learned, you didn't learn overnight.
True.
You know, I imagine most of us watching this show have some sort of job that we go to during the day.
Right.
I'm sure you had multiple days of training at that job. And even after your days of training, you didn't know it all.
Yeah, true.
So nothing is too small. Even if you just get up and you have a glass of water, you get up a little earlier, you don't hit snooze one day, you get out of bed on time. But one of the hardest things to do, and it's going to sound simple, but it's a very vulnerable thing to do.
Okay.
And it's a very hard thing to do, is to look in the mirror, make eye contact with yourself, and say, I love you, and mean it.
Yeah.
And it will stir up a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
It will stir up a lot of vulnerability, vulnerable feelings. It'll stir up more than you may even be able to handle that moment.
Right.
But everything is step by step. And I just always recommend following your intuition.
Right.
Whatever you feel drawn to, there's no one right way to do it. If journaling is not your thing, as you're driving into work, say some affirmations.
Yeah.
As you're driving into work, I am awesome, I am awesome, I am awesome. Or as you're driving into work and you're sitting in traffic, instead of saying, oh my God, again,
Right.
say, how amazing is it that I have a car to drive in?
Yes.
How amazing is it that I have a job to go to?
Yes.
How amazing is it that I have gas that I can put inside of this car to make it run? And as you keep doing that and you play this almost like appreciation game with yourself,
Yeah.
you start to just feel better.
No.
And then it just, all of a sudden, all these feelings of gratitude. And then you're sitting there and you're like, I love traffic.
Exactly.
You just go from like one end of the spectrum to the other. Yes, thank God for traffic.
Yes, yes. I love that, because what you're doing is you're putting a positive spin on everything.
Yes.
And better means for you to have gratitude.
Absolutely.
It really, really does. And for anything that does not look very savory to you, something that you're not enjoying at the moment, something that you're not even happy about, you can find a good spin on it.
100%.
100%. And
absolutely
down to the traffic, down to your meal that didn't come out good, down to the fact that you woke up this morning and you're breathing, regardless of the fact that you're late for work and it's snowing outside and you don't have a shovel to snow. It does not matter. You sit there and you think, you be thankful for the things that you do have, and it'll make those other things feel that much smaller.
And also ask for help.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody and go to anybody, a loved one, whoever it is, and say, hey, I really want to have a better year this year. You know, these are the things I'm recognizing about myself. What can I bounce some things off of you? Do you have any feedback for this? Start to look online, ways to, you know, feel better, and just focus on the little things, and whatever your intuition draws you to is gonna be it. And you build from there. And your gut, especially as women, your gut will never steer you wrong. That intuition will always guide you. That intuition will never steer you wrong, as long as you really take a moment to listen to it. And I always say too, there are moments in the bathroom at work, I'll run to the bathroom if I need a minute, and I'll put my left hand on my heart, my right hand on my stomach, and I'll just take 3 deep breaths.
Wow.
And it's as simple as that. And then, you know, and I'll say to myself, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay.
Right.
Because we all have moments at work where, you know, you
Get stressed out.
get stressed out. You have a lot of ill feelings toward everybody there. You know, everybody, nobody is immune to that.
Right.
But it's a matter of how you come back from that.
No, I totally agree with that. It's really about you monitoring how you react to certain things as well. That is really, really key.
You can't control the things that happen to you, but you can control your response to them. And granted, controlling emotions is not easy. It is not easy work.
It's not.
It's not for the faint of heart.
It's not.
But it's something that's so worthwhile once you start to really work on it and manage it. Or once once something unfolds in front of you and you just get to sit there and say, well, you know, that happened. You know, when you get to that point and you just say like, well, okay, I guess we're going to roll with this now.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And it makes you just feel so much better, I think, when you let go of things, you know, and you let them go and you mean it. Because sometimes we just say, oh, forget it. I've done it. I was doing it. I'm not thinking about it. I don't care. God's going to take care of it.
Oh, me too.
But at the same time, I was obsessing over it and just thinking about it, but still on this shoulder saying, God's got it. I'm going to be okay. So you have to literally, truly let go.
You are manic manifesting.
Oh my God. I was.
We've all been there where you're like, I trust that God has me, but I want it and I expect it at this time, at this date,
and still trying to.
And you're still trying to control it.
Everything.
Like,
and I had to.
Well, if God wants me to have it, he'll let me have it by May.
Yeah.
And that's just not how it works.
I know.
It's not how it works. I wish it did.
Oh my God. Well, I was, with my girlfriends and a lot of us talked about boundaries, setting boundaries. And, a couple of people, talked about how they needed to prioritize and how they needed to stop worrying about everyone else's feelings and start to worry about themselves. 2023 is a lot of women awakening to the fact that we need help. We have problems, we have issues, and now it's time to work on ourselves. What do you think about, setting boundaries? How easy is that? In certain situations, is it easier, harder, or easier? Like, what do you think about that?
I think boundaries come with confidence because I will tell you, until I started feeling more confident, setting boundaries was extremely difficult because it was like, well, I don't know if I set this boundary, is this person going to like me? Are they going to hate me? What's going to happen? And you get nervous for a second. And then I think I hit this point where I was like, well, wait a minute. If they don't like me because I'm, setting a boundary that works for me and that says, I can't, this is my line, do not cross, then they're not for me.
Right.
And being able to let go of those people is a huge thing too.
Yeah.
And just know when you set boundaries, unfortunately, people are going to fade away.
Yeah.
And you just have to remind yourself, you know what? This is the universe and God pulling them out because they don't have respect for me. They're not truly my friends. And remember, actions speak louder than words. So when you set those boundaries, watch how people respond.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. It takes a minute. And sometimes you have to talk to yourself before you walk into that room and set that boundary. But like I said before, you matter. So setting that boundary is extremely, extremely important. And in terms of it being easy, you just take it one boundary at a time. If you have severe family issues and you haven't set boundaries your whole life, you're not going to go into Easter or the next major holiday and tell everyone what boundaries you're setting for them. That's just extremely impractical.
Right.
But when it comes to, being at work or anything like that, if somebody asks you to do something that's outside of your scope, that's outside of your job, starting off by saying, listen, no, that's not within my reach. That's not within my position. That's an easy way to start. If you're dating and somebody is not treating you the way that they're supposed to, putting up that boundary and saying, I don't appreciate when you do X, Y, Z. And if there's somebody who is actually kind in your life, they will understand. And if they don't understand, then sometimes it's also just recognizing that you don't mesh, and that's okay.
Yes, that's right. Boundaries, to me right now, is equating to respect.
Yes.
It's really, really what it is. And you setting the tone for a friendship, a relationship, your work relationship, these things is really saying, I want you to respect me for who I am, what I want, what I believe, and what I think.
And what you need.
And what I need. And I love that you said that, because sometimes it's very hard for people to set up boundaries, especially when you are a people pleaser.
Oh, yes.
Especially when you don't want to hurt people's feelings. There's so many things that come into play that make you forego your boundary because you can deliver it. But should you all the time?
Right. And then if you're anything like me, in my friend group, I used to be, oh, she's the sweetest. She'll do anything for anyone at any time. And you hear that and you're like, I am, and it's so flattering, especially as a people pleaser. It's so flattering.
But at the same time.
But you get exhausted. You really do. And then you end up in the situations that we were in towards the end of the year. And, I look back at certain situations I was in 2022, and I was like, well, I wonder what would have happened if I would have set that boundary, or if I would have understood somebody else's boundary a little bit more, or I would have been able to empathize with somebody else's boundary, or if they were able to empathize with mine. You do run scenarios, within your head, and let them go. Let them go. But learn from them.
Right.
Absolutely learn from them. And you can take things from past friendships, past relationships, past anything, and bring them into a new situation and really allow them to help you transform and grow.
No, I do. I agree with that. And I also think it will help that person grow as well.
Yes.
Because they will see that you are setting the tone now for the relationship, how you're going to move forward in this friendship, what you're willing to allow and accept in this relationship, in addition to the change in you. And they're probably going to see that and then want to implement that same thing in their lives. So I love that. It is very, very important. That
and it's all about how you set the boundary. You can set a boundary nicely.
Yes, of course.
Always set it nicely. You know, if somebody does something that's in their norm that you don't like, if you suddenly flip out, then that's going to be a really shocking situation for them.
True.
So that's something we want to be mindful of as well. So really take a minute to say it gently, you know, and you could always say, listen, when you do this, it makes me feel.
Right.
It takes the blame off of anyone.
Right.
It just gives you a situation and how you feel about the situation instead of saying, when you do this.
Right. Yeah.
When this happens, it makes me feel, or I don't appreciate.
Exactly.
It's all about being gentle.
Exactly. And laying it out in a way that I feel is more understanding, because what I'm saying is what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling.
Yes.
And that is clear, and it should be something that you should be able to receive with no problems. You know, I'm hearing what you're saying, but this is how I'm receiving it.
Yeah.
So that then they can switch it around or whatever they need.
And sometimes it's just a miscommunication too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something as simple as that, where it really is just a simple miscommunication. Or I have a variety of friends that I have to speak to them in different ways, because the way I speak with one friend, where I can be blunt and you know, very straightforward, doesn't work for my other friends. And that doesn't make them bad or one better than the other. It's just a matter of recognizing their boundaries and what approaches they need. So that's also being aware and being mindful as well.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
All part of being a better you.
So prioritizing ourselves, prioritizing the me and the better me for 2023. How do I do that? I mean, considering we need to be just grounded and whole spiritually, mentally, emotionally, how can we prioritize those things, especially when it's a daily task for all three of those things?
Oh yeah, it's hard.
Oh my God.
I think,
and keeping them balanced.
Oh, it's not easy. Not easy by any means. It's probably easier to be in the circus.
Yeah.
But what I will say is making a list of what, you know, we talked about making a list of what you do like about yourself.
Right.
But making a list of things that you don't love about yourself.
Yes.
Making a list of things that, you know, are not your most flattering features.
Yes.
Is important. And then saying, okay, now that I have this, for example, one of mine in the past was I act on emotions instantly, and I did not ever pause to think, is this a big deal?
Right.
So if something would happen and I would just flip out, I would flip my lid. And I would just,
Zen friend?
Zen
Jaclyn?
friend. If you are close to me and something happened or at work or anything like that, yes, I used to just flip my lid.
0 to 100.
0 to 100, or I would just, or even if I didn't flip a lid, I would just be upset and I would be in my feels. And the reality of the situation is, so many times I could have just taken a breath, or I could have just gone to bed instead of saying something in the middle of the night, you know, via text. Or I could have just gone to the bathroom, taken a couple deep breaths, and I would have come back and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Right.
So recognizing that part of me, now I do take that into consideration. And when something does happen, I really do try to separate myself or excuse myself to the bathroom or use an essential oil or something like that and just take a second to breathe.
Yeah.
But I think it all starts with those things that we don't love about ourselves, because being a better you means we have to get rid of some stuff too.
Oh yes.
There's not room for everything.
Exactly.
And we have to make that list. It's not a fun list, but and you're not going to show, well, I mean, I guess you can show it to people if you want to, but I won't be showing anybody mine. But you know, making that list, be as truthful as you can, really sit down, really get vulnerable, really get honest with yourself and say, because here's the thing, you can make the list, but if you're not honest with yourself, it's not going to do you any good.
No,
it's really not.
Right. You're absolutely right.
And this is not a homework assignment that you're turning in for a grade.
No.
It's something that's really being built to help you.
And
so that's something that's important. Really get down, get vulnerable, and start there. And then say, okay, I don't like this. What advice would I give to a friend on how to fix this? If if I were in their shoes, you know,
Yeah.
if they were in my shoes,
Yeah.
what would I say to them?
Yeah.
And then take your own advice, because 9 out of 10 times our advice is pretty good.
Oh, it is. That's why people keep coming to us for it, but we just can't live by it.
Yes.
And that's the sad part, because that's what I felt this whole, past the last quarter of 2022 was just that, is that I'm not practicing what I preach.
Yeah.
And yet people are still coming to me for the information, the knowledge, the wisdom, But I love that you said what you just said, that it is hard, obviously.
Yes.
But we do need to start eliminating things in our
Mhm.
lives that we know it is not who we are.
Yes.
Most importantly,
Or if it
saying
doesn't
to
feel good.
it doesn't feel good. And those things, those personality traits that we may have that we know is not good for us at all. And like you said, jumping off at the handle. I have a
Yes.
girlfriend that actually this weekend said the same thing, that she wants to be able to control her emotions. She can, just be very aggressive very
Mhm.
quickly for no reason. And I think that a lot of the reasons why we deal and handle things the way we do is because of how we were raised and the things that we've experienced. And I'm thinking that we dig deep into
Yes.
what those issues were, so that we can figure out why we respond to things the way we do, or why we act the way we do. Because
Yeah.
there's some things I felt I needed. I feel I'm very nice. I'm very, very nice, to the point sometimes where I feel I can be, what's the word that I'm looking, oblivious. You know what I mean?
Yes, there is. My best friend tells me all the time. I said to her at one point, I said, I have hope. And she was like, you are naive. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was so mean.
Naive is the word. Exactly. That is
Yes.
the word. Naive to just about a little bit of everything.
Yes.
And I think because of what I experienced in the last 3 months, that has really woken me up
Yes.
to the fact that I cannot be.
Mhm.
That I can be nice and kind, because I always am going to be that person, but at the same time that I have to be mindful,
Yes.
not to be overly extremely nice all
Yeah.
the time.
And
So
there's,
it
listen, there's two
matters.
other things that I recommend too. The first thing is really, really, it's going to feel a little weird. And I think as women, we have a tendency to compare ourselves to other women on social media, women we pass on the street.
Mhm.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
We beat ourselves down a lot. And one thing I started doing, because I used to have those emotions where I'd be like, look at her, she's this, she's that, she's so much better looking, she's this, she's that. And finally I was like, well, what if I just started thinking about things I love about
Yeah.
her, or I admire about her? Or even better yet, if the person bothered me that much, no matter who they were, I just hit that unfollow button.
Yes.
And
Quick,
it
fast,
really,
and in a hurry.
it really worked out. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what are you to me?
Exactly.
Like, you know what? And some of these people, I was like, I met you once, and your energy is not vibing with mine. So I'm just going to take you down,
Yeah.
and that's it. And the other thing I try to remember is, if I were to die tomorrow,
Mhm.
did I do the kind thing?
Yeah.
Did I leave the room a little bit brighter when I left?
Yes.
I always tell people there is that, balance of being naive and all different things. But at the end of the day, if you can do the kind thing,
Yeah.
do the kind thing.
Do the kind thing.
Do the kind thing.
No, I agree with that. I do. I totally agree with that. It's just, being mindful. Not everyone's energy, like you said, matches yours. And
Yeah.
I tend to want to believe that it does until it doesn't. You
Yes.
know?
Yep.
And I have to kind of switch around how I approach things now, which is growth. And I'm so happy about it.
Growth is beautiful.
Oh, it's so
but growth is
good.
hard.
It is. It's very hard. But that's what I needed. I think that's what the lesson was, is God needed to grow me in that area. And
Mhm.
so I'm learning that now. But when I was in it, I couldn't stand it. And I was very angry about it, by the way. Now, also, I want to talk about decluttering, because time is
yes.
winding down. I did that at the last 2-3, I think I
It's awesome.
Oh my God. It is amazing.
You feel a difference in the energy in the
You
space.
do.
And the abundance that just suddenly starts pouring in is like, it's kind of like your flying money story.
Exactly.
Not flying money, but your chump change from
Yes,
angels.
it's just appearing out of nowhere.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
And that's
yes,
why I
yes.
say you let go of stuff so that more beautiful, amazing things can come into your life.
Yes, because if you think of your life as a house, okay, we've all seen hoarders.
Mhm.
We all know what a hoarder is,
Yes.
and nobody wants to be a hoarder. But that goes for your life too.
Yes.
If you do not clean up your side of the street, that goes for your energy, that goes for your
Yes.
friendships, your boundaries, everything. you don't allow anything good to come in.
Exactly.
Because in order, and I truly believe this, in order for the universe to bless you, you have to make room for it. And I worked with so many women in the past too who have wanted health and wellness.
Yes.
And every morning when they get up, all they do is think about their sickness.
Yeah.
And they don't do anything to make room for health and wellness.
Right.
So I say all the time, well, what if you woke up and you decided to write your story of wellness and you decided to actually go out there and seek things, and okay, you notice that the drinking is not helping your Hashimoto's, and you took the drinking away. You notice that staying up past midnight and getting up at 4 a.m. is not working for you anymore.
Right.
You start going to bed at 10 p.m.
Right.
You have to take out hard habits.
Yes. Yes.
To bring in better ones.
No, you definitely.
And nobody's going to do it for you
Yeah.
except for you. And that's the hardest part.
Oh God, yes. But let's hope it's the beginning of 2023.
Yes.
You take this opportunity now. You're not only getting rid of a bunch of stuff, but you're adding some beautiful stuff to your life as well. I decided to do that. I didn't want to just focus on the things that I was taking away, because there's a lot of things I need to take away. But I was also interested in adding some things. I want to kind of redefine what success means to me.
Yeah.
I want to add a different path to that success. I want to add, more people that are, like me, that are more supportive and more, in line with my morals and my thinking. And more importantly, I wanted to spend some more time adding spirituality to my life, and not just what I've regimented already, what my routine is. I need to add more of that into my life. So that is what my goal is. But I obviously, we advise everyone out there to take out a few things that that aren't working for you, but add some beautiful things as well. What things are you planning on adding?
Oh my goodness. So I have decided this year that a huge thing that I am focusing on is, I had heard Gabby Bernstein say it, and I was like, that sounds really good.
What?
And she had said that she was going to date spirit, and she was going to date, her spiritual routines. And I was like, yeah, she said, I'm going to make spirit my boyfriend. And I was like, how fun is that?
I love that.
And so I actually am planning a trip
Okay.
by myself. And I'm going down for a book conference, and I've decided, I was like, let me make it a week-long thing. And I'm going ziplining, I'm going, to an adventures course, a dolphin sunset. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to be right near Disney World, and I'm a huge Disney fanatic, which I know you know about me.
Yes.
So I'm going to take myself to Epcot, go by myself for Flower Garden Festival. And then I'm just going to enjoy some time by myself. And I think we need to learn how to be by ourselves to really fall in love with ourselves, because we can't bring more beauty into our world until we love ourselves. And that's when we begin to attract beautiful things. And for me, more recently, I bought myself a new journal. It's the little things, and, doing those affirmations in the morning, and, making sure that I'm pulling a card from my affirmation deck, and, the little things like that. And then walking into work and telling myself I'm going to have a good day.
Right.
And there is one part of a Netflix documentary with Tony Robbins, I Am Not Your Guru. And he says, I told myself I am unstoppable, and I would run for an hour, and I'd say it over and over and over and over. And the more you tell yourself these things, the more you start to believe it.
Yes.
You really do.
No.
And the past month, I have walked into every single part of my day saying, you know what, I deserve good things. I deserve good things. I deserve good things. I am happy. And even this morning, I went back to work, and I was like, I've decided it's going to be a good day.
Yes.
And I know Louise Hay used to start her day like that too. She used to wake up and say, today is going to be a good day. So wake up and really set that intention to have a good day. And there are going to be things that really try to mess with you. Not every day is going to be a good day. And, and I think we also have to find the nice area too, where you're not the where you also remember to empathize with other people. Don't be the annoying, overly positive friend where somebody comes to you and says, like, this really bad thing happened to me. And you're like, but you're alive.
Exactly.
You have to find that happy medium.
You're a blessing. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Look at you. You're beautiful.
You probably can relate to this too. And I love all of my friends who said this to me, but every single time something else, unfolded in my life that was miserable, they'd be like, you are going to be so much stronger on the other side of this. And finally, I looked at one of my friends and I said, I love you so much, but if you tell me I'm going to make it out of here stronger one more time, I am really going to lose it. Because that's the thing too. Sometimes we need somebody to look at us and say, yeah, what you just went through, it really stinks.
It does. You're right. You need the truth. Like you said earlier, you need to sit in the mess
feeling.
for a little while. And that's what I allowed myself to do.
Yes.
To sit in it, to be angry, to be mad, to just fester in it for a little while. But then finally open my eyes and was ready to see the light. That's, that's going to lead me out of it. So I agree. All of these things are needed to have and create this better you for 2023.
Absolutely.
And she just said, spending some time with yourself, taking yourself on a trip, journaling,
or just go to the mall. I'm not saying everybody else has to go away, because that's not easy for everybody. But
spend some time.
Go to
yourself.
CVS alone, and just buy things for you or something like that.
And actually have conversations with yourself as well. What is making you happy today?
Mm-hmm.
What are you enjoying about your day?
Yes.
What are you looking forward to tomorrow? Don't think about all the bad things that are going on around you. Think about the possibilities of greater and better things going on. And I think that would help you too in becoming a better you for 2023. So time is winding down. I think we've passed our time, but I wanted to do a quick meditation before we go. Please throw up her information real quick, Bobby, if you don't mind. It's Jaclyn. You can we didn't even discuss the Hashimoto's, but you're going to be back. You know you're coming back.
Well, I always find my way back here.
Exactly. She will be back and we will be discussing it. But this is where you can meet her, greet her, the autoimmune revolution. I can't see. I'm
the Autoimmune Revolution LLC.
Yes. And tell us a little about that real quick.
So those are courses that are launching in March. They are going to be helping women with autoimmune disease. So my goal is to bridge together science and spirituality to just help you feel better.
Oh, all right. Well, listen, she is going to do a quick meditation for us. And before we go, I'm also going to give you my Dare to Be You while she goes into our meditation. I want you to think about this. I accept myself as I am, and I love myself enough to work on being better. Go ahead.
All right. So go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your belly fill up like a balloon, followed by your chest. And allow that breath to go all the way up to your throat. And then go ahead and release it through your mouth like a balloon deflating. And I want you to continue focusing on this breath. And as you breathe in, focus on breathing in joy, laughter, and anything that you want to manifest for 2023. And as you breathe out, focus on releasing any negativity, any negative emotions, any gross, icky feelings that you want to leave behind you. And as you focus on breathing in, allow yourself to feel encompassed by a beautiful golden light. And allow that golden light to warm you, making you feel safe and comfortable. And as that golden light begins to lighten, turning to white, and then eventually disappearing, you find yourself on a beach with trees all around you. And as you walk into the trees, you begin to notice the most beautiful waterfall. You step under this amazing waterfall and recognize that the water is the most perfect temperature. And you allow it to wash away anything that no longer serves you, cleansing you for a new beginning. And as you look up towards your waterfall and allow the water to hit your face, you notice your golden light beginning to come and surround you once again. And all you see is gold light, and you allow yourself to feel the bottom of your chair once again. And you take a deep breath and remind yourself that you are worthy, you are enough, and you are beautiful just as you are. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes to the room.
I loved it. Thank you so much.
You are very
I
welcome.
am still under that waterfall, my friend. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing episode. You are coming back sooner than later because we did not even scratch the surface. I want to thank you so much for joining another episode of You're Our Unity. Thank you so much, Jaclyn Kiernan.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love you so much.
I love you.
I want you guys to remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. Let's go out there, be some love, share some love. I'll see you next week. I love you. Have a good evening.
Strong Island Entertainment.